Okay, because we never do the introduction at the start, this is the end for us, but the start for you, we're now going to bring up 3 screenshots of like the new moons and full moons. It's the 2 Virgo new moons that are coming up, and especially the one that's around September the 18th, because we haven't looked at it quite yet. That's super important. And the new Virgo moon around in September is a solar eclipse, if we've got it right. And for us, in our perspective, which you'll hear us talk about coming up, it's about Virgo's about health, and it's about body consciousness and health. So sidereal astrology for us, Vedic astrology, is about the temple of the body, Eastern body. There's a book called Eastern Body, Western Mind, and the Western mind for us is the tropical astrology, the Western astrology. And so when they're both in the same sign, which they will be on this second Virgo new moon, it's a super connecting, aligning between heart, body and intellectual mind consciousness. And so we'll put those screenshots up, then you can listen to our babble, and we'll put the screenshots up at the end for you again as well. But have a look where your Virgo is in your house and what house it's in if you know it. For us, our Virgo's in house 1 and 2, and you can see, and we've also got a super soul, as Molly Cord says it, Virgo soul, and our sun and moon is also in Aquarius, but that's house 6, which is Virgo's home. So health wise, this is all really amazing and symbolic and important. If you don't know your houses, for us, we were trying to understand, what does it mean if you don't know the time of birth and therefore don't know your houses? And for us, that just means that unless you've had the drive or the want or the knowing, if it hasn't happened yet for whatever reason, you can get a rectification chart done, which gives you a time of birth. But if you don't know your time of birth, it's the area of life from the house system perspective isn't important, and so therefore your gift is about coming in and bringing in a new alchemization and perspective without the lenses of the areas of life, because in these systems they categorize them and they box them too much into separation. And the more we separate and categorize and box in our external reality and organization, the more it happens in our bodies, and the more it happens in our bodies to a microcosmic level, the more it's going to happen on a macrocosmic level. And this isn't the pathway from our understanding to unification, harmonization and oneness, nowness, unconditional unity, love. But we'll leave you on and not babble too much. The 2 Virgo new moons, the second one, a solar eclipse, health, unifying heart, body, intellectual mind, consciousness. Enjoy the video. Okay. Oh. So we like this background. For some reason, the background's been really important. So we're in the corner of our bedroom, sitting on the floor. We've just discovered that the cat's behind us. Our niece chose them for us. And we've got like the flowers up here and the fern. We love the plants. So there's so much going through at the moment, it's not really going to all make sense, but as we do these for kind of us more than anything, to watch back, listen to back, especially before we go to bed, so it can continue the connecting, so that we can make sense to others in a logical, linear way. But anyone that's got Virgo or Leo, but more importantly Virgo, strong Virgo energies, and for anyone really, Virgo's health, and it's all about the future human, future earth. It's all about taking self-control and self-management of our bodies and our health, and not handing things over to professionals. We're not saying don't go to a professional, we're just saying do your own research and connect with your body more, so that you understand your body. But we've got we've got the flip coming up again. So when we're talking about moonology now, so the flip in moonology is where you have your pair of axes, Virgo, Pisces, Leo, Aquarius, Sagittarius, Gemini, whichever axes pair you've got. The linear logical start beginning is the new moon of the axes and then the full moon. So if we're in a Virgo solar season, a Virgo astro sun, which is not what we're in now, but we are in 22nd of July, we're coming up to Leo. So currently we're in a Cancer sun season. So if we start with a Cancer sun season, one would automatically jump that the Cancer new moon comes first, because we're in the Cancer sun season, and a new moon is when the sun and moon are conjunct, and a full moon is when the sun and moon are in opposition. So when there's a full moon, it's opposite the current sun sign, which would be Capricorn. So we've just had the Capricorn full moon. The next one is the Leo new moon on the 24th of July. This is going to be really profound and really shifting for a lot of people, with it being 2 degrees and opposite Pluto and Aquarius, at the start of Aquarius, 2 degrees. For us, it's 2 vibrations, so it's really big. Now we're going to bring in Western tropical astrology with sidereal astrology, and this is what we use. We're not an astrologer. We don't go into anything. We just skim the surface of different things to like add the bits of information and words into what we feel is working for us to bring. Yeah, we won't go there. So that's tropical Western astrology, which we connect to the Western mind. There's a great book called Eastern Body, Western Mind. And for us personally, Russian Tosai Brazen Perspective, we've connected sidereal astrology, which is like the Vedic astrology, the Eastern, the spiritual, to the body, to the temple, hence the health of the body being really important, hence the Virgo being really important, ruling health. And for us, our house 6, Virgo's home, is Aquarius. So, and what's also really big about this is we've always known that when you've got, because in that video, if you go onto our Zanoni Snowflake channel, we just commented on Pam's latest video with Japan, July 2025. And we've always known that when there's a planet in a house that belongs to another planet that's home. So a lot of people, if you look at your rising sign or your sun sign, if you don't know your rising sign is more accurate because it's got a shorter time frame and changes every couple of hours or something. And so therefore our rising sign is Leo, Virgo, cusp. So if the ruling planets of that sign, the sun for Leo, Mercury for Virgo, are the planets that kind of govern your chart. And so for Aquarius, which is our sun sign, and it's on the cusp again, but not the anaretic degree, it's end of 26 degrees, almost 27. This, Aquarius in house 6 is ruled by, so what would we say, the Leo, so Leo and Virgo on the cusp. You look to their ruling signs, which is the sun for Leo and Mercury for Virgo. We're on Aquarius, Pisces. You look to their ruling signs, Pisces, and this is where it gets really interesting because Pisces is one of the profound planets. It's got the traditional of Jupiter ruling it, and it's got the modern generational collective of Neptune, because it's got a really long, I think it's 165-year cycle. And then Aquarius is ruled by Saturn, and in traditional and modern is Uranus. So for us, if you take the Aquarius energies, which is how the Aquarius energies, which is in our house 6, which belongs to Virgo, one of the planets of Aquarius is Saturn, and our Saturn is in Virgo house 2. House 2 is Taurus, ruled by Venus. Venus is in house 8 for us of Aries, but house 8 is Scorpio's home, which then brings in Uranus, and our Uranus is in Scorpio, and that is the ruling planet of Aquarius. And so we've made these jumps before and known that they're really important, but we've only just heard Pam Gregory explain it. So she's explaining, I think it was the chart for Japan and future that thing that happened in Japan, and she was saying how you've got Neptune in Aquarius at the anaretic degree, and you've got Uranus in Pisces at the anaretic degree. Now they're not conjunct, they're a whole 30 degrees, a whole sign apart from each other. A conjunction's when they're next to each other, like a new moon with the sun and the moon, when they're kissing, when they're touching, when they're holding hands. So these are whole 30 degrees away, they're not holding hands. But because Neptune is in Aquarius, and Aquarius's ruling sign is Uranus, Uranus is in Pisces, and Pisces' ruling sign is Neptune, and so there's a really strong relationship, and she called it a conjunction. So that was really interesting because it shows that what we're picking up on, even though we don't have the terminology, we're picking up on stuff that's really important. And so we're going to go that with this new moon. So on that new moon, full moon flip, where the new moon comes first and the full moon comes after on the pair of the axes, with the new moon being the moon that's conjunct the sun, so the new moon is with the solar season, we've been acutely observing and witnessing these cycles for almost a decade. And after the cycle 20, so this is, we mention these things because they're pivotal points in our life. And that was the Leo full moon then. But that was when there was 2 Cancer new moons. They were in June and July, and they were at the start, I think it was 0 degrees Cancer and 29 degrees Cancer. And this, we knew that that was profound and meant something, but that was the flip. And we noticed then that before that, the new moon I think the new moon came after. We noticed that it was the full moon, then the new moon of the axes, rather than like we thought how the new moon should come first, because we didn't really, the seizures flipped us and put us into this new energetic pathways of our body and our brain. Before we were very pedantic and very linear and couldn't move anywhere further on the pathways that we were in. They were very limiting. And it was like, new moon's meant to come first. Why is the new moon not coming first? The full moon's coming first. And we've been following the eclipses as well. And so then it flipped so that then the new moon did come first. I'm pretty sure it is then. I'm pretty sure it's about a 4-year cycle. And then about a year, or maybe, we don't know the cycles. Don't take us on the linear time thing that we're still getting there. But we watched a video of Molly McCord, and she explained this lunar flip thing. So again, it gave us the worded systems and terminology to what we had already been picking up on. And we feel it's much more, for us anyway, in our learning styles, it's much more important to have the tangible experience first and then gain this theory information afterwards, because it makes it relative to us. And that's just how we learn. How we've witnessed how we learn best. And so we've been paying attention because we've got two new Virgo moons coming up. So we've got the Leo new moon coming up at the end of this month in July the 24th. Then we've got a Virgo new moon at the start of Virgo, and then we've got a Virgo new moon at the end of Virgo. And the South Node and North Node for the collective is in Virgo Pisces. For us personally, they're in Pisces and Virgo. It's opposite, and it's at it's the end of Leo and the end of Aquarius, but the very start of Virgo and the very start of Pisces. And so bringing in the Eastern sidereal Vedic astrology of the body, the temple, where the planets actually are in the sky, the astronomical position, and the subjective and the Western astrology, which is more subjective, and that changes, we don't know, 2 degrees every so many years, and that's why it's not aligned to the sky anymore, because when it started it was aligned, but cycles aren't perfect, and so then it's shifting 2 degrees every so many years or something. And so that we see is the intellectual, mental body, mind. Because for us, there's a mind, a consciousness for everything. There's the consciousness of the cell, the consciousness of the bacteria, the consciousness of the cellular community, therefore the consciousness of the organ, of the heart, each, if you're going to break it down into all the parts. And we only do that because we're putting words to what we experience, and that's what's happening in our body. And that's how we've learned with our DID and everything that's happened via ayahuasca journey, blah, 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 blah. And so... And so the Virgo new moon at the start of Virgo in the Western tropical astrology, the intellectual mind, is at 0 degrees. And so therefore the sidereal astrology, you minus the 24 degrees. We don't know if it's 0, you'd have to check up on actual informations, but you minus that 24 from the 0, and then you've left with basically a new moon of Leo at 6 degrees. So we've got the 2 degree Western new moon of Leo on the 24th of July in the Western astrology, but on so that means no, because so this is the second, so this is a Cancer new moon at the end of July in if it's 2 degrees Leo, it'll be 8 degrees Cancer, around about there, if we're just working out the math, if we've got that accurate in the moment. So when you get the 2 new moons in the same, when you get the 2 new moons in a row in the same sign, when you minus the 24 degrees, which is how many degrees behind the sidereal is from the the Vedic Eastern sidereal astrology is from the Western tropical astrology, then you get those same energies. And so for us, that's really important, because it means there's a energetic synchronicity and bridge between the body and the mind where the energies are the same. So if you think of it like being in a home, and you've got the people going from home, there's an overlap where normally the person that owns the home isn't, so the person is the planet, the person that owns the home isn't in the home when the other people are moving through the home. So it's kind of like, but I don't know, Airbnb, you own your house, but you rent it out on Airbnb, and so someone else comes in. So Uranus has rented out their home to Mars that's come in to visit it. But with what we're talking about in these 2 new moons, it's kind of like, they've messed up the booking, or they're friends and it's done consciously, and they've made an effort that Uranus owns their home, and Mars is going to come to stay at Uranus's home at the same time. And so therefore they're both in Mars and Uranus are both in Uranus's home. So we're getting a bit confused as we're saying that, so we don't know if that actually makes sense or not, because when we talk in the moment, we're in autoflow. It's like when people consciously go into channeling when they do tarot or cards, or but that's not their everyday life waking state. For us, that's our everyday life waking state. So but we're making our way back to that other way. But that's where the people we interact with, so if you're watching us and you're more inclined that you put yourself into that channeled state, then you're helping us come out into that more waking state, linear, logical state, and we're helping you go to a more of a fluent channeling state with the subconscious quantum energy dynamics through string theory, quantum entanglement. So this first new moon in Virgo at 0 degrees is a Leo moon sidereal, but the second new moon in Virgo around 29 degrees is a 5 degree Virgo moon in sidereal. And so therefore there's a Virgo health of body and a Virgo health of mental intellectual mind that are connecting and aligning. And even more profound is, I think it's the second Virgo moon that's a solar eclipse, and so that second Virgo moon that aligns body and mind, intellectual mind, mental consciousness and body consciousness coming together through the portal and lens and filter of Virgo energies is a solar eclipse. And so that brings on the cycle right next through to the next one. So when we were talking on our other channels of with the galactic calendar of how you have your 13 tones is a wave spell cycle, and then each of the 20 solar tribes starts at the magnetic tone 1, and that is the dominant theme for each then of the other 12 tones of that cycle, and they all have that turn. And so therefore that's kind of like history rhymes, but it doesn't repeat the same, because you'll get similarities but you never get the same conjunctions. So you can make a cocktail, you've kind of got the same ingredients in it, one and another, but you've got different measurements of the same ingredients, and they can be the same ingredients, both taste lovely, but both taste quite different because they've got different measurements, or you've just got completely different ingredients. So again, we're getting lost as we bring in those analogies, which are great, but then it loses us. So anyway, we just wanted to say how this solar eclipse, second Virgo new moon that's coming up, with the first new moon is July the 24th. So the next one is kind of going to be, if it's 4 weeks apart, it'll be around the 21st of August, and then 10, 18, so but then the 18th, so around the 21st of August, around the 18th of September. We haven't got all the information there to our hands written down because we weren't planning to do this consciously as such. That one around the 18th of September is going to be pretty profound, and 18 has been a number that's been coming up for, again, like 14 yesterday. 18's come up quite a bit today for us, so we're going to end up checking that now. Hold on, we can pause. Oh yeah, we can pause, but we can't actually then shift because it will stop the video, and we don't want to do any editing and link it together on our phone. It just takes ages. But maybe we can make this video and we'll do a screenshot of the eclipses and of the new moons and full moons and the void, of course, and we can put them at the beginning and at the end for you of this video. So we might just stop it now and then do an introduction to put at the very beginning of the video. But pay attention to those energies. Bye!